as usual, we're starting the stream with some technical difficulties. Okay, so I should be streaming on LinkedIn and YouTube now, but for some reasons Twitch is not working. So I will try to figure this out while we wait for some more people to join. So as usual, another Sunday evening. Happy Easter. We are doing more live CV reviews. So for today, if you want your CV to be reviewed, please go to offerbee.de and send in your CVs. So you can find the option in services and then go to CV review. And we created a special discount code. So normally CV reviews are 30 euros per review. But for the people who are willing to share their CV for the live streams, we want to give everyone a free offer. So if you could enter the code LIVE0504, 5th of April, then you'll be able to get it for free and then have your CV reviewed on live so that we can all learn together and help more people find jobs. While I figure out how Twitch works, we did have somebody who sent in their CV last week that I wasn't able to go through on stream. We were already going for 2 hours and 30 minutes and we weren't able to go through everything, so I've got their CV at hand as well, and in a bit we'll start with their CVs. But also for the live streams, we don't have to only talk about CV reviews. I know a lot of people have general questions about job searching. I also get a lot of people who ask about things like cover letter, how to write them, are they important? I also get people who ask questions like what's the salary range for a certain type of position within a certain area or field of work. So I would say in terms of salary range, I also have to do a bit of research, but I can show you how I would typically research the salary ranges for a role. Usually it's bound by job title / seniority / more accurately, it's determined by multiple factors usually. So job title or job field area, like for example, product manager versus software engineer versus product designer. And seniority level, so junior, mid-level, senior, head of, director, management tiers as well, and location. So these are usually the 3 most important factors to determining a salary range. And we can see if anybody has questions here as well. Or for example, people have questions about how to prepare for interviews. That's something that I'm happy to answer on the stream as well. And if we don't get so many CVs this week, because I think a lot of people are off for Easter holidays or traveling. So what I'll also do is I'll go on to Reddit, and a lot of people post their CVs on Reddit. So I'll use Reddit as examples, and then we'll go through some of those CVs together. Let me see what the deal is with Twitch. So what is going on with Twitch? Need to check. But we did have somebody who sent in the CV for product manager position from last week, so we're gonna probably focus on this to begin with, and I'll just wait a bit as well for more people to come in. What is going on with Twitch? In the meantime, let me know if you have any general career questions, job search questions. Is the market good right now in Europe and in the UK? In the UK, I can't say for sure, but in Europe, I mean, to be honest, I think the past few months have been more optimistic than I expected. I saw a lot of openings just on my own LinkedIn timeline. And even though it's anecdotal, but still, I think the gut feeling is good. Like, I think it's much more optimistic than I thought. And also, another good sign is I'm seeing a lot of companies hire for talent acquisition positions. So that's a good sign because if a company is hiring for their recruiting team, then that means they expect to hire more positions in the upcoming year or two because normally each talent acquisition person can probably handle the 360 end-to-end recruiting for at least like 6 to 10 positions, maybe even more in some companies. So I think it's looking quite optimistic. So somebody on YouTube saying market for anything under 5 years seems pretty grim. Openings since March have been very dry. Okay. Do you want to share what like region or continent you're mainly searching in? Because I think that also could be, or like maybe what positions you're looking for. Like I think the problem is ever since the pandemic, I feel like year after year we have this conversation of like, is the market good? No. The answer is always no, because the market will not return to what it was like pre-pandemic for sure. Like I remember pre-pandemic, I worked for this company as a contractor recruiter for 6 months, and that was like luxurious. Like they were paying their employees to go on like business trips and business class flights, intercontinental, like every week they had like cakes in the office. Like they ordered cakes every single week, and it was not a huge office either. It's not like we're feeding like hundreds of people. But yeah, pre-pandemic was good. After the pandemic, it's not been so good because it's been more risky. But also, I think the problem that I have with this discourse now is like we can never probably encounter a point in time where market will ever be as good as before, but we can't control when we'll need a job. Like if I need a job now, then I need a job, right? Like I can't wait for when the market recovers. Like the bills are not paying for themselves. Um, but I do think an important lesson coming from that is, first of all, tech is becoming a bit more demystified, or maybe like it's no longer this like uh super golden like easy job where you train yourself at a boot camp for 6 months and then you can land like 100K annual salary jobs. Like it's not like that. And maybe before that, these tech companies had a period of time where working there seemed like the best thing ever, and you can make money really easily. But now, I think this industry is demystified a little bit, which I think is a good thing. Like fundamentally, working in tech has always been high risk, high reward, and obviously from the outside, you see the high reward part, but maybe not everybody sees the high risk part. That's one. And secondly, I think um, like the fact that layoffs since COVID started has been increasingly been used by companies as a tool to restructure their labor entirely, their workforce entirely, and to immediately just get rid of like some of their biggest cost centers. Like this before the pandemic was way less common because if a company did this, then you'd be like, oh, then like there's something wrong with that company, they're laying people off, so then like maybe they're not doing so good. But now companies can use AI to justify laying people off, whether it actually increased their productivity or not. That's a whole other topic. And having worked at multiple tech companies that try to use AI internally, and having seen how like just generally the discourse has been like, genuinely don't think that AI has increased my workplace productivity at all as a product manager. But if CEOs say this, like, oh, AI is making us more productive and therefore more efficient, then they can essentially like lay a bunch of people off and then not send that negative signal to the market and still maintain high stock prices and not make anybody upset while keeping, the CEOs keeping their massive paychecks that are probably like tens of hundreds of times more than the average individual contributor in those companies. So high risk, high reward, and that risk has been increasing. Two things. And the third thing is, I think this means to us as job seekers or potential job seekers that our old methods simply don't work anymore. And I think a lot of people promote this like spray and pray, like, oh, at the end of a day, it's a numbers game. Having worked in recruitment for 4 years, I really don't think it's a numbers game, because there's so many resumes and CVs and applications that land in my laptop, and I'm like, if you really thought about the position for 2 seconds, you wouldn't apply. And if you applied, it's such a clear, like, it's clearly not a fit that would really not move you forward to the interview stage, because I'm not setting you up for success, and I'm not setting myself up for success when I had those hiring metrics. So I really think that regardless of how the market is in each of our different fields, the only way out is to adapt and to try things that would actually now work in this new changing market, and not just kind of follow what, like, kind of conventional knowledge almost, like, or urban legends. Anyways, that's my take, because really from the talent acquisition side, like, having seen some of the things that people are saying online, I'm like, this totally makes no sense at all. Like, I don't understand why these things, it's like so many of these things are conspiracy theories. But anyways, that's like my whole thing with hiring, job searching, and that's why I wanted to open up more honest conversations about job searching, and hopefully I can bring more insider knowledge to people. And so I'm seeing somebody's comment, Berlin, my resume is one. Yes, thank you so much for sharing your resume. I'm super excited. Let's maybe take a look now, actually, while we wait for people to come in. I don't think I'm able to fix the Twitch thing, so Twitch people will have to wait for next time. There's only one person that's looking on Twitch, and I don't know if he's joining, so let's see. So you're saying, while I was in education back during COVID, so I'm not comparing to. Yes, that's true. Yeah, can't really compare that. I know the pandemic hiring caused a lot of issues. Yeah, AI plus war. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Block. Well, I wasn't thinking of Block specifically, but I feel like so many companies are doing this now. Like, they lay people off, and they're like, oh no, it's actually because we're more efficient using AI. Like, it's such bullcrap. Like, it's really such bullcrap. But they're not saying this for everyday people. They're saying this for investors, for shareholders, for board members, right? Like, we're not the target audience. And then over time, it feels almost like a rolling snowball. Like, the more people repeat this, and the more you feel like, oh, well, is it really true that AI is replacing all of us? Like, really, no. It's always nice hearing things from the inside. I'm glad. So if you have any specific questions, let's talk about those. Yeah, exactly. Makes for a good market narrative. Yeah, 100%. Okay, so let me get to the one CV review I've got queued up for today. Super excited. So let's chat. Hopefully I won't mess up OBS now. So OBS, please be nice. 1 second. Let me pull up your CV screen. Yes, okay. I didn't mess it up. So, but now I need to do... every time I'm trying a new setup and then I get really confused. Okay, wait, I think this can work. So, we've got the CV. This is a product manager. Profile, 4 years of experience, consumer-facing products, early-stage startups. Product design, game design, founding PM work. Cool. Founding product manager, Paris, France. Mobile first creator collaboration platform. Joined as product designer, grew into founding PM role. That's really cool. Cool, really cool background. And I think some companies will prefer product people with the design background. Like, some companies prefer product people with an engineering background, and some prefer with a product design background, and some prefer, I don't know, like, industry specific experience. Directly funded product strategy, redesign, creator, application flow. Cool. Define, prioritize. Trade-offs. Yeah. Product designer, same as above. Yeah, I think the same as above, don't need to mention it, but it doesn't hurt to mention it here. Because I think when you actually apply by the name, we can tell it's the same company. What you can also do is, like, next to product designer, you can add parentheses, like, founding product manager, you can do something like, in parentheses, promoted. But it's not a super important thing. Conducted structured user research, 10 interviews, usability tests, friction points, convert insights. Designed and shipped MVP in 30 days. Cool. 0 to 1. Onboarding setup time 60%. Game designer. Cool. Nice. Very gaming focused background. Really nice. Like, very consistent. And studied game design as well. Really nice. Okay, cool. Now let's see. So this person also sent in some jobs. Let's look at them together. First of all, let's look at this Scalable Capital product manager mobile apps. First thing I noticed is this job was posted 4 months ago. Usually when I see something like this, and especially if it says no longer accepting applications, what I would do is I'd go onto the company's career site. So that's usually the main source of truth. And all the other, like LinkedIn, Indeed, whatever, these are basically their, like, ad platforms. So it's where they choose to distribute these ads. So if they have a job that's open, they'll definitely have it on their career site. If they don't have it on their career site, these ads could still keep running, leading to a situation where, like, you apply, but actually they've already had candidates at advanced stages and they're no longer accepting applications. But in this case, yeah, I just want to double check if this job is still live. So I'm actually just going to go and search for Scalable Capital Product Manager. Or maybe careers. Let's do careers. Scalable Capital. Show current jobs. Product. Don't see a product job. Product management. Let's search. Yeah. Okay, nice. Product manager. They have a lot of product manager jobs. Okay, cool. So this one we're looking at is for mobile apps. Yeah, I think still up. Product manager mobile apps. Slightly different job titles on the career page, but I'm assuming it's just that usually when they do this, it's like they're open to, like, both mid-level and senior people, and maybe they have multiple headcounts for the team, that's why. So let's continue looking at the job description. And also, when I saw that it's a fintech company, usually when I see fintech, especially quite established fintech companies and not like super early stage, their big thing is normally they want other people from already, like, established fintech companies. So usually they would probably prioritize candidates who have fintech background. So that might be a little bit of a barrier. 700 people, okay, quite established, I think. Product manager for mobile apps. Mobile experience, responsible to conceptualize, develop native, optimize user experience, cool. Mobile team. Okay, so far I haven't mentioned finance background or like fintech background, but I think still it would probably play into their decision-making process. So need to keep that in mind. Lead a mobile app team, manage roadmap, oversee agile process, service product expert, highlight importance between wireless synchronized priorities, blah, blah, shareholders. Sorry, B2, across both B2C and B2B features. Okay, collaborate designers, domain expert. Nice, we have a design background PM. This should be very easy. Work hand in hand with marketing, mobile feature teams, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, so this is very basic. There's nothing out of the world that they've written, or like nothing super unique. This is very standard. Okay, qualifications. So, what did we say in the first two streams? Top 3 to 4 bullet points are the most important, and the rest might not be super important at this stage. Passion for digital products, strong desire. Okay, we cannot assess desire, but here they said financial well-being through digital innovation. This is not a very well written job description, I think, because you get so far down the page, and the first bullet point is not really even saying anything. But I think this might be like their very roundabout way of saying we want somebody with a fintech background. I don't know. I'm guessing. But this is not like there's so much fluff. Anyways, talent in an ability to effectively prioritize individual team tasks. Okay, yeah, this is very basic for product people. Hands-on approach, take ownership, ideation to yeah. It's not a. I'm so sorry if there are any scalable people reading this, but it's not a good job description. But okay, anyways, as job seekers, we need to like work through these, right? But I'm basically saying like so far we're not seeing anything like crazy. It's very basic like product thing. Except they're saying German is a plus but not required. So yeah, like that's the problem. Sometimes they'll say German's a plus, and then you look at who they end up hiring, and it's like native German speakers. Good understanding native iOS and Android mobile app development. That's right. So yeah. So yeah, mobile for sure. Like we need to probably mention iOS and Android experiences specifically on the CV. Proficiency with native mobile functionalities, push notifications, extensions, universal links. Yeah, cool. So maybe if you worked on these features beforehand, definitely try to mention some of these keywords and like native mobile functionalities and so on. Agile product development, ability to adapt and deliver dynamic environments, familiarity with agile tools. Yeah, fine, pretty basic. Very basic job description, because from reading it you can't really tell what like different thing they want out of a mobile product manager. So let's try our best. Going back to the CV, yeah, I think the main thing is this fintech background, and I think I've worked on some product layer case studies in fintech that yeah, case studies might not help so much because it's kind of hypothetical, right? Like ideally they want real life work experience, but I think you could maybe mention in the profile section, like within the first two sentences, that you're passionate about. Like for example, in the second sentence where you say consistent focus on engagement, retention, behavioral systems. Maybe here you can swap some of these keywords because they didn't mention anything about engagement, retention, behavioral systems. I think mentioning is good, but maybe like before all of these keywords, you first mention like with a consistent focus and passion in like building. Yeah, it doesn't sound super convincing if you just say like you're passionate about it and then you don't mention it in the experience. I think you could mention it, and maybe if you have like a public facing portfolio where you include the fintech case study link, where like I as a recruiter can then like click on it to see what you've done, then maybe that could help. So we could try that, but yeah, not sure if they're actually gonna view it. What else did we see? Leading mobile team and native iOS and Android. Okay, mobile first creator collaboration platform. So here, emphasize, like throw in maybe a few more things about like the fact that you worked with both, probably, I'm guessing, iOS and Android developers, or like you had a team of iOS and Android engineers. Sometimes it depends, like if it helps your case, you can also mention, oh, I've worked with a team of like, I don't know, 4 iOS engineers and 3 Android engineers and things like that. Yeah, okay, cool. I read your comment. So normally you mention things in the cover. Okay, cool. But by the way, to like mention this, and maybe for other people who are watching, cover letters are not very important. So don't spend like, sometimes company will ask for it, and I think it's good that you like give them what they ask for. Like if they ask for a cover letter, then you provide a cover letter, but it's really not important in the sense that they will probably not read it. If they do read it, they'll probably not read it for more than 10 seconds either, because it just isn't as strong of a what's the word I'm looking for? Like, we're looking for evidence that show that you could do the job well, and it's not strong enough evidence to say, I'm really passionate about X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? If I haven't done, like, if they're looking for a senior Android engineer, and I'm like, I'm very passionate about Android development, but I've never worked as an Android engineer. You know what I mean? Like, the weight that the cover letter carries is, like, almost nothing compared to the CV. And I'm not just saying for the viewer that's, like, watching this, but also just, like, for everyone who's watching now and maybe in the future. If you do need to work on a cover letter, don't spend too much time. Like, I see people like struggling for hours trying to figure out just how to write one cover letter, and then the output is like quite generic. Don't do that. So if you write a cover letter, don't spend more than 10 minutes on it, is my recommendation. And like you could maybe I'll share this like in a future stream, or if later we have time I can share a template, but I have to look for it. Basically, I saw this other like recruiter, like he's more of a headhunter, I believe. Like he does more actual like placements and works with clients, whereas I don't anymore. And he had a really good like cover letter template where he says like, don't fluff, don't BS, really just be like straight to the point. Hi, I'm applying for this position and I think I'll be good fit because of 3 reasons and 3 bullet points. Each bullet point is like 2 sentences long, and then boom, that's it. Like, don't take up the whole page. But yeah, coming back to this CV, I think somebody actually, sorry, just like, because I'm still trying to figure out my optimal workflow with streaming on OBS so I don't have to pay $80 a month. Somebody on LinkedIn, I think, is asking if I review French CV. I don't speak French, so if you could write in English, that'd be great. But if you're only applying to French-speaking companies and not English-speaking companies, then like it doesn't make sense. I think you should have somebody who's more familiar with the French ecosystem. But if you do apply to English-speaking companies and roles where you need your CV in English, then send it to me, and I can review as well. Okay, so that's that LinkedIn comment. Somebody saying the Stripe code is not being accepted. Okay. I'll come back to fixing that in a bit. I'm sorry, so many things like need to refigure out, but okay. So coming back to the job description, yeah, I think like if, for example, for both of your previous experiences, you worked on mobile apps. I think games are still a bit different, but as long as you work on mobile apps, like really specifically mention you worked with iOS and Android engineers and blah blah blah, and team of iOS and Android engineers in an agile structure as well. I don't know if I see agile somewhere here, but yeah, definitely make sure to mention that, because I think they mentioned the agile methodologies, yeah, tools and concepts, so user stories. So yeah, so just throwing a few of those keywords. You don't have to specifically only say user stories. You can say, like, for example, worked in the agile methodology with iOS and a team of iOS Android developers. Good understanding of native mobile industry trends. Let me just say, let's see what else we have here. Collaboration with internal stakeholders. I think that would be good to mention. Because I do think there is quite a bit of blank space. Like we can add a bit more information. Like for example here, this second line has only 2 words. Like maybe we can add here design creator application flow structure including conversion by 25%. Maybe we can add something more about like collaborating with different teams. And if it's a super early stage startup, I don't know if you have a big team, but maybe you can still mention like collaborated with marketing. I don't know who else, like analytics team and like senior stakeholders. Yeah, here you mentioned evaluate trade-offs, like maybe be a bit more specific, and then mention design. Or I guess you were the designer, so I don't know if like you could still say collaborated with design, engineering, and leadership stakeholders or marketing stakeholders and so on. Yeah, here it seems like marketing was mentioned directly, but they didn't mention other teams. They mentioned other feature teams. Execute regular app releases. What else? Nothing much for us to work with, although, yeah, I do think, I feel really bad saying this, but like the chances of you maybe getting interviewed for this kind of role is not super high, because really to me, your profile reads a lot more gaming specific, and for like SaaS mobile apps, maybe you need to look for a company that's a little bit more gaming adjacent or less, because I think fintech is quite a specific field. So maybe try with another company, or if you were to still apply to Scalable Capital, try to get a referral. Otherwise, I think it's gonna be really tricky. Reading your comments now. It's down in the skills section that used to be top up. Move it down. You mentioned some agile. Okay, I see now. Stakeholder communication. I think with the stakeholder stuff, it's best to mention that in context of each experience. You know what I mean? Like, because they specifically mention collaborating with design, marketing, and don't remember who else. And like the problem with reading organizational skills and soft skills in like a list like this is that it's not contextualized, and if it doesn't make any, it doesn't like mean anything to me. Like in the context of a technical skill where I say I'm familiar with JavaScript, like I mentioned JavaScript, I don't know, React framework, whatever, like that makes sense, because like that's like, okay, then we can move you to the technical stage and we assess your skills there. But like everybody writes stakeholder communication on their CV, just like a keyword. So I think it's better for things like agile and stakeholder stuff, like mention it in context. What else? Yeah, this is all good. Yeah, I think this is just gonna be a tough role in a tough company because of the industry. Yeah, older application. Yeah. Okay, yeah, no problem. Primarily in B2C, dating and gaming types. Yeah. Makes sense, 100%. Added Cloud, Replit, add cursor now. Yeah, cool. Sounds good. So now maybe let's look at the game owner live ops for Crazy Labs. This is the other job that we've got sent. So this job was only posted a week ago and only 78 applicants. That's quite good, because usually you see this number and it's always like 100 plus. So let's look. 8 billion downloads, Crazy Lab, leading publisher, casual and hybrid casual games. Cool. If you're an experienced game owner, so game owner is honestly speaking not a title I'm familiar with, but I'm guessing like if you worked in gaming, then you probably have assessed that the game owner is gonna be similar to product manager or product owner. Let's look. Own the strategy, live operations, performance of hybrid casual games, define product vision. Okay, yeah. Data to guide decisions, continuous optimize KPIs, retention monetization. Yeah, this is great. This is great because I think you already have all of these keywords. Collaborate closely with UA design, tech, data teams. Balance gameplay, quality, business outcomes. Nice. Cool. Requirements. Proven experience managing scaling mobile games. It seems like they're quite specific about the category because I can imagine. I'm not familiar with the field, but it makes sense. Like they're casual games like, I don't know, Candy Crush. Is that casual game? And I guess there are games that are more complex that you can play on your phone. Strong analytical mindset with hands-on experience with KPI data-driven decision-making. Deep understanding of game economies, live ops. Actually, I don't know what live ops means in the gaming context, but I think maybe you're familiar with that if you're in the industry. And monetization strategies. Cross-functional teams align stakeholders around a vision. Entrepreneur mindset, full ownership mentality, strong communication skills. Okay. I think this job description is better written than the other with less words. Weekly events. Okay, understand. Yeah. Like this week, play, I don't know, Candy Crush, and I don't know, whatever. I haven't played Candy Crush in a long time. Okay. Yeah, I think your profile is very strong for gaming type. 2-time experience rewards. Yeah, makes sense. I think your profile is quite strong already for gaming, but maybe I'm trying to see, because technically your previous role is more B2C SaaS and the game you worked on was more in 2021, right? This experience where it's apprenticeship, seasonal stuff, makes sense. Because this is actually not a game, right? Mobile first creator collaboration platform. I think then maybe we need to make your profile a little bit more gaming focused, or at least like we make gaming the theme, or like we make the theme appear to the user a bit more, or like the reader, sorry. Maybe then if I were you applying to this job, I would change my title from product manager to something like game owner / product manager, something like that. Game owner / B2C SaaS product manager, or mobile app like product manager. And then I would change the keywords in the profile as well. I would lead by game owner and product manager with design background and blah blah. Yeah, nice. Okay, you change your title. Yeah, that's good. Gaming resume. Nice. Okay, yeah, that's really good. If you have a gaming specific resume, then I think that should be good. I'm gonna try to mention maybe some of the edits I would make, and then you can see if that's what you've done as well. So what did we see earlier? Gamer profile, resume, Netflix. I love that. Okay, that's great. That's really good. I trust you with that, and then I will just like see if I've missed out more things just from like a recruitment point of view. On the strategy, live operations, performance. So first we've got the strategy, performance parts. You mentioned strategy, roadmap, prioritization, execution. Maybe earlier on in the page I would mention more on the engagement and retention numbers, and if they're good numbers, it would be good if you mention it. Like, for example, here you mentioned increase this conversion by 25%. Like maybe other, retention, engagement metrics that also were things you worked on and improved quite a bit, then that's good to mention as well. Vision, roadmap, I think execution, we have that as well. Yeah, continually optimize KPIs, retention, monetization, engagement, UA performance. Yeah, like if you've done all of these, then yeah, we're gonna throw those keywords in. Collaborate closely with UA design. Yeah, I think maybe just elaborate, because you already have that sentence on stakeholder management. So maybe just elaborate on that sentence about like which teams you're collaborating with. Balance game quality, business outcomes, internal, external team, A/B testing, experimentation through A/B testing, economy, design, content, strategy. If you've done that, I think maybe reflect the same vocabulary that they're using as well, because I think A/B testing and experimentation, I think you mentioned this somewhere. You mentioned A/B testing in here, maybe? Yeah, A/B testing. It's a bit too late. So, like skills. The skills section, I see A/B testing here and performance tracking and decision making. Ideally, all of those things are first already reflected earlier on in context, just in case the reader misses out on reading those things, because most likely they will be skimming through very quickly the first like half of the page and maybe the first 2/3. Education is normally not that important, but here it like works in your advantage because you worked in game design and innovation design management, so it's very relevant. Yeah, ideally mentioned A/B testing, experimentation, and so on, like directly in the experiment section. You mentioned here mobile game studio. Maybe, yeah, live events, this is great. Okay, so maybe here you could mention what game category it was. Like, was it also casual or hybrid casual? So maybe it would be good to mention that. And I think maybe you can even remove the line about apprenticeship, because it did last for quite a while, January to December, that whole year 2021. I think it's not important to mention it here, and it's just that if you kind of highlighted that this is only an apprenticeship, you kind of are underselling yourself a little bit. Like, later on when you do enter the interview process, like if they ask, did you do a full-time role here or whatever, then you can say it was an apprenticeship where you like maybe you can explain like, I don't know how many hours it was, like was it regular full-time hours or was it like 20 hours a week or something like that. Then you can mention still in the interview process, but here you don't need to mention it, I think. KPIs we mentioned, game economies, live ops, monetization. Maybe something about monetization, because I think I saw monetization twice in this job description, so maybe mention monetization as well. Cross-functional team, entrepreneur, yeah. I think the rest is good. Looks good. And actually quite cool to read this. Look, at Crazy Labs, AI isn't scary, it isn't a buzzword. Assemble an AI lead team dedicated teaching, training, helping all crazies be ahead of the curve, use smartly. Is an AI slop-free zone. Yay! Good for them. Good for them. And yeah, I hope this was then helpful. I think that's it for this role. Hopefully you've also tweaked it the same way. And if you have any more questions, please don't hesitate. Great. So we've reviewed our first CV. Thank you so much for sending these in ahead of time. And sorry that we didn't get to review it last time. So let me just check, because I think somebody is saying that the discount code is not working. I'm gonna still get to the CV that was sent to me on LinkedIn, but probably need to get the discount code working. So in the meantime, we can maybe just feel free to ask any questions that you might have on all platforms as well. If you have any general questions about job search, or if you have any specific questions about your CV, don't hesitate. So let me just check why this coupon isn't working. Promo code. It's because I am a dum-dum. I need to write the promo code correctly. Now we should be yes, we should be in business. Um, the promo code should be working. Apologies for the for the delay. So, for everyone who's watching, if you want to also have your CV reviewed, please go to offerbee.de, go to services, go to CV review. And for the people who are willing to share their CV for all of us to learn together, the discount code is live0504. So 5 first and 4 because we're in Europe and we're using the European date format of 5th of April. So don't hesitate to send in your CV, and it would be great if you send in a couple of jobs, so then we can really evaluate your CV in context, which is really important because, as you can see, the same CV for 2 different jobs, the fit could be quite different. Like, for the same job title at different companies, because of the context of the company, industry, size, maturity, everything else, they could still be evaluating candidates very, very differently. You also have companies with different levels of like risk appetite, I would say. Like some companies are more risk averse, so they really want to hire people who have like really done and exceeded exactly what they're asking for many years. Other companies are a lot more willing to invest in talent and they see the potential in people. So yes, it would be great if you can share a couple of jobs as well. I've got somebody who sent in their CV on LinkedIn. So now the code should be working, but I'll also just use the CV as an example. So we're just gonna take a general look because I haven't gotten any specific like job descriptions from this person yet, so we're just gonna review it like broadly, which might not be like super useful. So yes, if you're watching, please do send me a couple of job description links, so then we can review the CV in context as well. So let me pull up this latest one. So you should be able to see. Okay, we've got a structure that's very interesting. Very different from the other one. So this person says they've been applying for junior developer roles, tester positions, AWS specific positions. Okay. Let's see. IT consultant graduate. 2024 to 2025. Associate IT consultant student. So I guess a student job. Then career transition further studies. Car detailer. 2021 further education. Career change training 2022 to 2024. Okay, so that's after the career change education finished. This person went on to take this role as IT consultant graduate. Okay, so I think the first thing is, it feels like same thing, like I think this person doesn't need to write parentheses graduate because maybe this job is a graduate specific position in that company, but unless there's maybe like specifics on, I don't know, like shorter hours than a full-time job, otherwise it feels like you're underselling yourself. I would say really get rid of the graduate, because different companies assess levels of seniority differently as well. There are people who have worked for 3 years in a company and they remain a junior or they remain mid-level, but I've seen people with 3 years of experience be promoted to head of. People also progress differently in their careers, but I would say remove the graduate because otherwise it gives the impression that like you're still very junior, but in fact you've done 2 jobs. You have, in terms of years, we've got 2 years of experience, and in most companies that's a mid-level candidate. You've also gotten formal training in application development. So yeah, first get rid of the graduate job title. And I think the CV is a little bit like, the reason why I felt like the formatting was a bit different was the CV feels a little bit dense and maybe a little bit wordy, but let's see. I think it's not an issue on its own, but maybe we just need to see, like, based on the specific jobs, if they do send in some more jobs, then maybe we need to, like, add a few lines. Sorry, 1 second. Let me just message this person back and say, because I think otherwise they can't message me back because of silly LinkedIn restrictions. You were reviewing it now. Don't hesitate to send in few job links as well so we can review together in context. Work now too. Okay. Coming back to this. What else? So without seeing any specific jobs, I can't really say if these experiences are relevant or not relevant enough, but just having like a quick skim, various stakeholders. Translate business technical requirement user stories. Lead architect and developer web application. I think maybe the bullet points are a little bit too, like, because you don't need to write full sentences. Okay, we've got a job link. Nice. Thank you so much. So I'll come back to that in a bit. I think some of these things, like, you don't need to write in full sentences because that's, so then you can shorten it quite a bit and you can condense it a little bit. Central team focus. You can just say focusing on C# software development using blah, blah, blah. Okay, close collaboration. European Accessibility Act. Accessibility research. Mentioned twice here. Implementation user interfaces according to design specifications. Use of Figma. So previous job, I think the student, this can be removed as well, because, like, if it's work, it's work. You might be underselling yourself if you say, if you mention it. Like, if they ask, yeah, you can say, oh, this was a working student position, but because they didn't ask, or at least at this stage it's not important yet. Like, I think try not to undersell yourself. So we can remove the student. Gain real world experience. I think you don't need to say gained real world experience putting theoretical knowledge into practice, because it sounds a little bit like you're preempting that they think that you're a student or you're inexperienced, and you're trying to say, no, actually I studied and I put my knowledge to the test. Whereas if I'm reviewing the CV not knowing who you are yet, I think it comes across as like, yeah, you're already underselling yourself, and like you're already, I don't know, coming across as like not so sure of your knowledge. So I would remove like this entire thing. I would remove like anything where you're trying to say, oh, now I finally put my studies into practice. Because just because you did a career change doesn't mean like you don't know how to code, right? Like that's the whole point. Like you studied and now you know how to code. So yeah, I don't know. It comes across as like trying too much to justify yourself. So I would remove this whole thing and just say, and I would remove this first bullet point as well. Like this is not giving me any useful information either in deciding whether you could be a good candidate to interview. So I would remove like both of these. I would just say I would say to be honest, I'm not very familiar with how these like IT consultancy companies work, but essentially you're a software developer as well, right? So I would just say software developer as part of the software development quality team, primarily C# code base. Yeah, I would just say that. Assisted on various client-facing projects, local government, bilingual team. I think this person probably speaks fluent German? Native language, yeah, okay, cool. Then maybe when you're applying to some companies, you might need to have a version of your CV like in German. That would really, really help. But I'm guessing because here you don't have your name. I think maybe if they see your name, they'll be like, oh, okay, you speak German. I don't know, making guesses. Maybe not. But either way, it's good to then just have the CV in German, so then you reassure them like you're a fluent German speaker. Cool, this is nice. Help to update and improve. I wonder if you can mention which clients those are, because if you worked on it sounds like if you worked with a local government, then you worked on pretty big projects. So maybe when you're actually applying, and obviously not for this context if it's not like ready to be shared, but if you're actually applying, maybe it'd be good to just name drop some of those clients to like show how impressive the work has been, the fact that you were able to work with these very well-known names. Then what else? Help to update and improve internal tool booking training seminar. Cool. Close collaboration with designer user research. Yeah. Establishing internal company service announcements. Further training studies. Cool. Yeah. The rest is good. Programming languages, like maybe sometimes depending on the case, maybe you want to have like up top, like just to make it really, really obvious and make sure they don't skip it. Maybe you still want to have like a one line, very concise. You drop like the most relevant technologies that the company you're applying to is asking for. Like if they specifically ask for, like, for example, C#, JavaScript, SQL, and I don't know, something else like React, it would be good if you don't make them like have to really search for the information and just make it very readily available and visible so that they don't miss it. So maybe just have like one line up top where you mention all the key like technical skills. Cool. Now I think we have a couple of job descriptions from this person. We could take a look together. So the job is junior implementation specialist, German speaking. 3 weeks ago, 11 people clicked apply. Wow, this job is very niche. Only 11 people clicked apply. I'm very surprised, but maybe it's because of the German requirement. Okay, I'll try my best B1 German to go through this. Okay. Implementation team, AI supported workforce management solution. That's the software. But implementation specialist, I wonder if this is actually a coding job, because in some companies, okay, the translator is not working, but I'll try my best. Because in some companies, the implementation specialist role is not really a technical role. It's more of like a customer success role. So let's see. And because here they mentioned it's a kind of a B2B software, it might be Einstiegsposition mit structured onboarding training, continued support. Okay. Wait, actually, let me pull out the translator because I just want to be like very sure that I'm understanding everything. Go through this. The rest we don't need to worry about. So, implementation team, your entry-level position includes structure. Yes, okay, cool. You manage smaller implementation projects as well as specific work, larger projects. focus will be understanding customer requirements, Kundenanforderungen zu verstehen, configuring the Queenix system according, supporting customers throughout the entire process, over time develop in-depth technical trusted point of contact. Yeah, I think this is a customer success and onboarding role. So maybe this is not the best role for you because it's not really leveraging your new skill sets or like leveraging your engineering skill sets. Okay, responsibility, supporting the implementation of AI Power Cloud for blah, blah. Oh, why do they have to mention like the whole name? Like just say the name of the product for customers in the German-speaking market. Capturing and documenting functional business requirements in collaboration with customers and internal stakeholders. Yeah. Configuring the Queenix system based on agreed upon requirements, best practices. Supporting testing activities, providing assistance during the go-live, post-go-live phases, troubleshooting and resolving configuration system data issues under the guidance of experienced colleagues, supporting technical aspects of the implementation. Okay, so there will be some technical work. Okay, now we run out of the translation limit. Responsibilities. Where else? Yes, okay, supporting technical aspects implementation, including the integration of API, training provided, preparing and leading client meetings, clear agenda documentation, follow-up, collaborating product management, development by sharing. Yeah, so I think this is not very technical. What you bring to the table, they don't ask for any technical requirements, it seems like. Das bringst du mit. What you bring to the table, structure, mindset, fluency, both German and English. Okay, here there's nothing, like the foundational requirements don't have anything technical in them. It's just a willingness to learn technical and functional concepts. And earlier they were saying like you're gonna need to configure like our software based on the customer's needs. I really think that probably the configuration is not super complicated because their tool is probably quite like I don't know, like the fact that they don't require any like coding knowledge, for example, like that probably just means their tool is quite mature, and you don't need a lot of like you don't need to code in order to configure it. Furthermore, a plus but not a must. Training or initial experience in IT, HR systems or workforce management, exposure to workforce management, HR system, payroll, enterprise. Yeah, this is nothing like this is because like as a user of these things or as a developer, I think, yeah, we can only accept applications in English for this position. Okay, cool. Yeah, so it's good that we are reviewing the application in English, the CV in English. Okay, so unfortunately, to the person who's going to be watching this now and in the future, I think this role is not for you because it's a completely different job. It's not a coding job. I would say you can still apply, but to be honest, I think it's not a good fit. Because it's like I think you can find roles that are more suitable to your skill sets. It's not a problem to apply. Like if you want to, you can, but eventually they will probably like invite you to an interview, and then throughout the interview process you realize this is not going to be something that furthers your career. If you do end up taking the job, the problem is like then you kind of have another career detour, you know what I mean? So it's not really good in the long run. If in the future you want to change jobs again and go back to software engineering, then it's really like taking a detour. You've already done a career change, so really I think, and you've done like 2 years of working experience, like you're already a professional IT consultant and software engineer. So really I think you can probably find jobs that are more suitable. And with this one, maybe the pay is not going to be as high as well. So let's see. So we've got another job description that we can also look at as well. So let me just quickly open up this job. So this looks like it's a more technical role. So let's take a look together. Okay, 3 months ago, yes. So when we see this, we need to like be a bit aware, especially the fact that they're no longer accepting applications. So maybe this person already applied to the job, so then in that case, it's not a problem. But yeah, just to reiterate, like in this case, normally I just go straight to the company's career site to double check if they're actually still having this position open. So reply careers Hamburg. What was the role called? Junior AWS Cloud Consultant. Oh, that's a pretty big company. Like they have all these international offices. Germany. What was it? AWS. Maybe I will search here. AWS Junior Azure Cloud Platform Engineer. Junior Google Cloud. Junior. This one, yeah. Okay, AWS Cloud Consultant, yes. Okay. Now, this probably is something we can work with, just to double check. Yeah, okay, so we're just gonna look at this one because on LinkedIn the translation doesn't work so well. Tasks. Become part of the Storm Mobility team. Together with experienced cloud experts, you will support our customers in the introduction of cloud technologies, conduct workshops, designing modern cloud architectures. You will support the development of solutions for cloud-based applications, responsible for the configuration and operation of cloud-based infrastructure or cloud-native applications on AWS, taking into account DevOps principles and methods. Yeah, some of these keywords probably need to show up on the CV. Also be involved in migration from on-premise to the cloud. Migration to AWS, deployment, maintenance. Okay, qualifications. This good basic AWS knowledge. Strong technical knowledge in the area of containerization, Kubernetes, CI/CD, and cloud technologies with AWS. New technology and trends, Gen AI, Agile, Gen AI, fluent German and English. Okay. Pretty straightforward. Let's take a look. I think straight up we're probably missing a lot of the main keywords, which are cloud-based applications, AWS, like all of that needs to show up like super early just to make sure they don't miss it. So really like the question is, have you maybe done that in the previous 2 companies you worked at? If yes, then really make sure they show up super early on. So let's just double check in the... Yeah, so you've done a bunch of AWS certificates. That's great. Maybe then that could be part of the one-liner. So the one-liner here up top, like it would be good to just add it to capture some of those technical keywords that may not be able to show up directly in the most recent experiences, because maybe you didn't do anything that's AWS related in this consulting company in 2025, but you did do it before, and just in case they miss it, really have like another line up top. I think you can put Azure up as well because it's another cloud-based solution. And then we need these keywords, these like containerization and CI/CD and whatnot, up like super early on as well. Kubernetes, Docker, CI/CD. I think I see Docker. So Docker needs to go up. Like we need this one line, or in context like where you mentioned, like leveraged I don't know, containerization such as via Docker and methodologies. Is it accurate to say? I don't know, but like you need to mention CI/CD, automation and so on, like super early on, because yeah, I don't see it here at all. And I think maybe because like for this job, it's not very front end, so maybe it's not that important to mention like the European Accessibility Act things twice. Like if I were you, I would just mention it once, maybe towards the end, and then like surface some of those more important keywords for this job earlier on. What else? Agile and Gen AI. I think Agile is somewhere. Not there. Okay, I just noticed that this Accessibility Act research is presenting to the Hamburg School Board. Okay, so I think all these 3 bullet points that are all related to the Accessibility Act for this AWS cloud consultant job is not going to be super important. So just combine these 3 into one bullet point at the very end, because I think it's cool to mention that your research is being proposed to the Hamburg School Board. So just mention in one sentence, like, collaborated closely and contributed to the accessibility research and preparation for the European Accessibility Act and presented solution to the board. I think one bullet point is enough. Agile, I didn't see Agile though. And Gen AI, enthusiasm for agile methods and Gen AI. Yeah, Gen AI is mentioned twice. So I think it would really be good if you mention Gen AI somehow. This could fit nicely again in this extra one line where you just list off like the most relevant technical skills for this specific job, and you can switch it each time for different jobs. So definitely do that. What else? This job is really straightforward. I think we covered most things: cloud-based applications, infrastructure, DevOps. Yeah, like I think we covered most things, but yeah, we need to make sure those more DevOps, infrastructure, like AWS and cloud related keywords, they need to show up first, because this company probably would not care super much about a few other things, like especially the more UI related stuff. So yeah, I think we need to tweak quite a few things about this version of the CV for this job. But if you do have all those experiences and all those keywords that you can fit them in, then I think you can. Yeah, let's see how long ago this job was. Okay, 3 months ago. Yeah, 3 months ago. This is like really quite a long time. So just be mentally prepared that they probably have candidates at the advanced interview stage, or maybe they're hiring multiple headcounts. Then in that case, 3 months is like a more normal deadline, or like timeline. But yeah, just be prepared that if you apply now, they might not move forward, not because you're not qualified, but because you might just be too late. That's it. Great. I think that's that one. Yeah, we only have one job link besides the junior implementation specialist. Yeah. So then, yeah, that's my review of the CV. I hope this was helpful, but if you have any more questions, let's write on LinkedIn, so feel free to send me a connection request. Yeah, and then also feel free to go on to OfferBee. Now it should work. And you can still submit the CV review today. If you have any more questions, but so far I think we are good. And let's see if there are other people sending in the requests through the platforms. Today's a bit quiet, probably because Twitch is not working. Sorry for the one viewer joining on Twitch. Other than that, I think a lot of people are on holiday or traveling or with family, so it's a peaceful Sunday for us. But I'll try to do this stream every week if I can manage, and it'll be every week around this time, Sunday evening. So yeah, stay in touch, and if you need help with another edition, then you can come back next Sunday. But I think while we have some downtime and we don't have any questions from the channels, then I'm gonna just do generic like Reddit CV review. So I think Reddit is a good source of information for some things. Not everything, but sometimes on Reddit you do see like some interesting discussions. So for example, like Usually I look at CS career questions EU, so this is usually people who are looking for tech jobs in Europe going onto this platform. And before they also did the salary sharing thread, but it ended in September last year, and I think nobody's really using it so much anymore. And sometimes people post their CVs for reviews on here, so we can also take some of those as an example. In the future, I want to do another type of live stream / video content where I just enter tech job search questions on Reddit. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know as well. I think I might just open up, like, I don't know how it works, I haven't explored it, but like if I can, then I'll create a channel called OfferBee, or like a subreddit, sorry, and then every live stream or for every video, we're gonna just ask all of you to submit your questions in the OfferBee subreddit, and then I'm just gonna go through all the questions and answer them as well. I think a few other there are quite a few like tech focused subreddits, and I think there are a few others where like people ask for resume reviews. So let me just take a look. This is interesting. I applied to 70 jobs in 2 weeks and got 3 offers. That's a quick interview timeline. If unless they specify, I always assume that these posters are in North America, just because like there's a lot more discussion in North America about tech jobs, and like for most companies in Europe, you're not gonna get them to finish interviewing you within 2 weeks. So actually, we've got a question on LinkedIn where somebody's saying, yeah, we have 2 questions on LinkedIn. Okay, sorry, I missed that one. So let me answer the first question from Bertrand on LinkedIn. I have a long experience working in TV as a journalist for entertainment shows, working with editors during post-production, but it became too unstable, so I like to do something else. So what's the question? It became too unstable, so I would like to do something else, and I find it extremely hard to change. What would you like to do? That's the question. Like, because I think all these different tech jobs have different levels of barrier for entry, and some jobs have much higher barriers for entry than others, like software engineering, where you really have to go through professional training, professional education in order to really know the basics, and you have to keep practicing to get to a level where like you're ready to kind of code in a professional environment. Same with, I feel like, product design, like that's not something that I can just pick up tomorrow. But if you want something that's lower barrier for entry, the sales / customer success route could be a bit better, because you have people working in tech sales from all kinds of background. And actually, I can't say for France, but for Germany at least, the highest salary that I've like personally seen from interviewing candidates was somebody who was working as a VP of sales at 220,000 per year euros. So sales has, I think, probably some of, like, unless you're working in software engineering for a Silicon Valley company in Europe, otherwise you're not going to be able to hit like 200-300k annual salary. But for sales, like, barrier to entry is relatively low. You're a journalist, you have entertainment and TV background, so I think you could probably adapt to the type of work where you're maybe constantly speaking and writing with people, you're emailing them. You probably have a better knack for understanding them as well, because sales is about like not just actually making the quota. Well, it is about mostly making the quota and like being able to beat the quota, but in order to do that, I feel like you have to really connect and understand your customers and find the right type of customers. So I think that actually might be a easier route. So check out like sales and customer success. Customer success is basically like the more customer facing job after the customers have signed. So they like sign the contract and they say, okay, we want to use your software, or we want to use your tech services for the next, like, I don't know, whatever year. And then what you do in customer success is like you make sure they you make sure your customers are properly onboarded to the software. So maybe you do a few like sessions with them. You say, okay, like this is our main functionality. For your use case, you can do this and this and this, and you click on this button, you use this template, this kind of thing. And then you check in with them on regular basis. You do like maybe business reviews with them to make sure they're happy, like in 3 months time, 6 months time, and so on. And then you also have some metrics. It's not always a sales related job, but it can involve a little bit of sales, but it's not as like sales is a bit more cutthroat. This one is a little bit like it depends on the company. So yeah, I hope that's helpful, and let me know how it goes. Good luck. I hope you have a successful career, whichever you choose. So yeah, but like I think I don't know about TV personally, but I think tech can also be quite unstable because in these past few years, the tech companies feel a lot more comfortable doing mass layoffs, and they're feeling comfortable doing them because now they can use excuses like, oh, AI is making everything more efficient to not affect the stock price and like shareholder and market opinions of their companies. So yeah, actually like it could be quite unstable as well in tech, where you have a lot of people who maybe change jobs every 2 years. Like I know people who were laid off like once every year for 3 years in a row, or they had to change job for whatever reason. So they only work like one job, like they worked a different job every year. So this could happen as well. But maybe it's like because the pay could be a bit higher in some tech fields. So maybe the like instability is a little bit more justified since it's a bit like better for income. But yeah, it depends on like which route you take and which company you work with. So good luck. Next question. Somebody's asking how's the current market trend for IT project managers. I really don't know, because I think it seems like you work at very large like corporations. And in the IT area of those corporations, that's not really my background. I mainly work with like more software-based companies that are like earlier stage or maybe just more like software focused. And like I've not really worked with many IT project managers. I'm not hired for many, so I can't really say for that specific field. But just anecdotally, like I think this year, I feel like I've seen a lot more job postings on LinkedIn than I expected to. So I think it's looking decent. Like obviously, the job market can never return to what it was like pre-COVID for tech. I think that ship has sailed, and like and I can't really say when it'll become better, because we're also having like so many international crises around the world. Oil price is unstable. We have some like crazy world leaders doing whatever they want to manipulate the market. So I don't know if it'll necessarily get better or whether it'll get worse before it gets better. So I can't really say, but you can this is something that you can do your own research. So depending on like which country, which continent, which world region you're looking for jobs in, it could all be quite different. And if you're somebody who's like a senior candidate, then you might have an easier time than others. So it really depends on quite a lot of different things. Like normally what I'd say to people who are starting out the job search is like have a bit more of a concrete plan on what type of companies, what positions you're interested in working in. Once you have that narrowed down, then first start by like targeting some of the more relevant companies for you, and send out some applications, and then see how the market responds to your applications. And then you can tweak your strategy and your tactics based on those responses. Like for some people, maybe they are already able to land quite a lot of interviews. So then, okay, then maybe we don't worry too much about the CV. Maybe what we need to think about is how can we secure all those interviews all the way to the end in order to get that offer? How can we increase our interview like conversion rate? Whereas for others, it would be a different problem. Maybe it's about like really just landing enough interview opportunities. And maybe to share like a benchmark, I think if you're seeing less than 5 to 10% interview conversion rate, meaning if out of all the applications you send out, let's say you send out 100 applications, you're only getting 5 to 10 first interviews, then maybe you need to think about how to increase that conversion rate. Because if your conversion rate remains really low, then think of how many hundreds or thousands of applications you need statistically to get an offer. Because there's so many different interview stages. There's at least 3 to 4 interview stages for tech companies. And each stage, let's say, even if you have a 50% rate of passing through, which is already quite high, you'll still need like so many more jobs if your initial interview conversion rate is low. So, and you know, there's not going to be an infinite amount of jobs that we can apply to within a given time frame. So yeah, I would say that would be my recommended approach. You can also look at like multiple job search platforms. Like don't just stick to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is quite limited because LinkedIn is the most expensive job platform out of all those others out there. So yeah, I think really try to compare like multiple platforms and job boards, like look across LinkedIn, Indeed, Stepstone, the big ones for sure, but also Google is really good. Like just trust Google and search for the job title you want, like for example, senior project manager, IT, and then the country, like Germany, for example, and then see what pops up. And then maybe you'll find more career sites of companies that you didn't know about before, or job boards that you didn't know about before that are more specific. Here I want to plug the job board that my friend created. So my friend Adi is also someone who came from a different country to Germany and made his software engineering career here. So he created a job board specifically for people who are like me, need potential visa support. Now I no longer need it, thankfully, but once upon a time, that was very important. So his job search site is called Arbeit Now, ARBEITNOW.com, I believe, or just Google it. He has a lot of really good job openings that sometimes I don't see on LinkedIn because maybe the companies didn't pay for a paid slot. So, this person says, yes, with IT, I mean software companies, could you please guide and suggest? Looking for Germany-based jobs, current location is India. Like, this is the really, really hard thing. Like, the main challenge is going to be how to find a company that's willing to bring you over here. And that's the really tricky part for all of us non-EU nationals. Like for EU nationals, it's not an issue, but for all of us non-EU nationals who currently don't have residency or visa status in Germany, then it's really, really hard because work visa, like application process, like the application process itself could take a long time. And there's a minimum salary threshold you need to hit in order to, for example, get a blue card or, I don't know, convert your Chancenkarte, I think. I need to double check if there's a salary threshold for Chancenkarte, but I think usually with these hiring overseas visa types, there is a threshold for minimum salary because they don't want you to be scammed also, like, or they don't want you to be scamming and say like, oh, like, you know, I'm coming over here to do like software engineering, but I'm only getting paid like, I don't know, 100 euros a month. So this is really, really, really the hard part. And because the visa situation, and now we have the added risk of the flights potentially not gonna be great between Europe and Asia because of the war. I think it's super, super, super risky right now. Like if I were a German company, I would absolutely for sure consider candidates who are already based in Germany, regardless of visa status. Is really this like coming over part that's hard. Because once somebody is already in Germany and has like a maybe at least a few months, then when we apply for that work visa in Germany, then that's easy. And like they'll most likely pay you a salary that would be enough if you're already here. But if you're not here, then that's really, 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 really tricky. You need to first find companies that probably are already known to be willing to move people over, or companies that are able to work with a more like longer hiring timeline, which is really, really hard. So I don't know what concrete advice I can offer in this area because I've never hired candidates to relocate them from a different country. I've spoken to candidates that would potentially need relocation, but this relocation process, like, really don't underestimate if you're a non-EU national like me. So yeah, I think maybe there needs to be more like personal research that you need to do a little bit. But yeah, first like figure out maybe what visa type you'll need. And then look at like discussions of like average timeline to getting those visas. And don't trust like what German companies don't trust what German HRs and German recruiting teams tell you if they're not non-EU people themselves with regards to visa processes, because unfortunately, like, as much as I love my German colleagues in these fields, it's not like a personal thing, but it really is like if you've not gone through getting job visas like from a non-privileged passport to like especially like a first world like Western country, like you have no idea how difficult it is and how many tricks and like traps there are along the way, and how you can be perfect on paper fulfilling all requirements, just like job searching, they could still reject you for whatever reason. So like, yeah, I think you might need to do a bit of more research on that, but I think like biggest barrier would be this visa relocation thing. Okay, so so I don't think anybody submitted anything else. Let me just double check. If not, then let's go through some interesting Reddit questions together. So this one person says, I applied to 70 jobs in 2 weeks. Yeah, okay, so we're saying this 2-week timeline is crazy short, so probably like I'm guessing North America based candidate. 6 months applying to jobs at sustainable pace, 5 applications per day, careful consolidation, two interviews, 0 offers. Try something different, 2 week sprint, 70 applications in 4 days. This is not a hustle culture story. Time management, statistical probability. Batch processing beats slow drip job hunting. Okay, seeing this number, like, I'm a bit suspicious, but let's read. Slow drip problem. 3 to 5 jobs a day feels responsible, sustainable. Some of these posts are AI, like, and like copy paste as well, so I don't like think. I try not to think too much. Each day you invest in hope in those 3 applications. Each evening you check nothing. You apply to 3 more. Did this for 6 months. Sprint theory. Well, the thing is, like, okay, ChatGPT, right? Like, but still, the thing is, like, you have these like AI slop stuff coming out, and like, if we just all disregard it, then that's fine. But the problem is, like, people actually believe in this kind of stuff, and that's the myth I want to bust here, right? Okay, so this person read about time boxing in productivity research. Intense focus but bursts better results than distributed effort. This is like based on the fact that assuming your outcome, the result, is solely dependent on your effort, right? Like, I don't know, if I like knit for 2 hours, and I will probably be able to produce more than if I knit only like 5 minutes a day, for like 10 days, whatever, right? Like, I'll probably be able to like produce more scarves or whatever, if the outcome is solely dependent on your effort, then yeah, this would maybe make sense from a productivity like research. It's not just AIs, but identify the actual specific model. Yeah. This is so annoying. Yeah, like I really hate this kind of like AI content because it just like poisons our brains. I probably have fallen for some stuff as well, and I hate it. But anyways, like the problem is, like this person says, I wonder if job hunting worked the same way. No, it doesn't, because it's not something that it unfortunately it is to an extent luck based, because you just don't know at the end of the day how each of those hiring teams are going to make their judgment. And I've seen some crazy shit that like hiring teams have said. But most of the times there are some cues and clues that we can pick up in the application process, such as, you know, based on the company's industry, based on the company's requirements, based on the company's current size, we can make some like reasonable deductions, right? And that's what's gonna help us then tweak our application materials, like our CV, like our approach, like whether we need to look for a referral or not, like this kind of thing. Like this is what's gonna make a difference from a hiring perspective. Like the math suggested, yes, if my callback rate was 2%, I need 50 applications at 5 per day. That took 10 days. Yes, but it's not linear, is it? Like, like I did actually speak to someone who was like, this was a few years ago. So a few years ago, I was still on Twitter, and like I was still quite active trying to write like my job search content on Twitter. And then I just completely gave up because it's like such a awful platform now. But back then, I remember I did some like casual user research where I said, oh, if you're looking for jobs, please like, can I get 10 to 15 minutes of your time? Can you tell me what your workflow is, and like, what are you struggling with? What are your main challenges? So I did speak to this one guy, very, very memorable. He like was looking for jobs in the US, and let me see if I can actually find the notes from that, because I did keep all the user interview notes. Maybe I don't. So he was in the US. Yes. He said if it wasn't for LinkedIn Easy Apply, if he had to research a company and wrote customized stuff, then he would not have been able to find his job. And what he did was that he applied to 600 jobs over 15 days. Like, and then like he said that was the only reason why he landed the job. He ended up with 35 recruiter screening, 30 second stage interviews, and he had so many interviews that he had to take 2 weeks off to interview. And I find that just really, really, really like crazy, because like, first of all, not everyone can find 600 jobs that they could apply to that fits to their skill set within 15 days. And I feel like if he'd taken a more focused approach, he probably wouldn't need to take 2 weeks off. But, you know, like, he attributed the success to being able to use Easy Apply to really quickly apply to everything. And I think maybe for his role it worked, because he worked in customer success, onboarding, and like sales development and so on. And I think basically every company that has a product needs some kind of sales and customer function, whereas not every company needs like 10 product managers, but maybe they need like 5 salespeople. So I think there is that availability there as well. But yeah, I don't think everyone should be doing 600 applications within 15 days, or like this person, because if we all did, then nobody's going to be able to get their application reviewed. Like, imagine the pipelines that we have in the ATS with like thousands of applications per job, then nobody's getting their application read. Like, it'll just make the market worse. Setting up the sprints. Okay, I think this is not very interesting then. If I like, I mean, really, I think what I've also learned from all the past few years of talking to people who were job searching and just getting stories is people also can find methods that work for them but might not work for other people. Like, I think it was 2 years ago or last year, I don't remember. There was this video that went really viral on LinkedIn, in my network, where this was a product marketing manager that was laid off or like had to quit her job. And then she basically made a short film, like super short, like 2 minute video. But it was so well made. It was so nicely like photographed and everything, like and she had like really nice video editing skills. She made like really good transition, and the story was like, it made so much sense. It was basically like a pitch for herself, right? And that video went so viral. I saw so many people sharing it. It was like maybe hundreds of thousands of reactions on LinkedIn. And in the end, I'm not surprised that she was able to land a job, but not everybody can do that. Like, not everybody's able to like make a beautiful short film about themselves. So yeah. Anyways. Okay, yeah, this is too long. Uh what the comments are good. What industry do you work in to be able to get offers within a week? Most process it last month. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Okay, somebody had a comment on YouTube. Someone could apply for one job, get an offer. Someone could do 300 and get an offer. None of it has any correlation with pure volume. It's about what change are lined up. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, exactly. And it's like our job titles are different, our experiences are different. Like, even if we're both like senior product managers doing like B2C mobile apps, we could still have very different backgrounds and very different like skill sets. Okay, yeah. Anyways, not super interesting, but good to kind of like use that as like a discussion point, I feel like. What else is interesting on Reddit? So I follow a couple of job searching. Ooh, there's a CV one, I think. Looking for real no BS feedback. Yeah, I think without the job it's gonna be very hard to tell. Front end mobile developer, and the problem is like, unfortunately, it just is the case with the state of the world, and it pains me to say that, but which country you're currently based in really makes a huge difference, and like, it's just so dumb that this is the way our world works, but it's also a legal thing mostly because like companies need to, or at least like European companies, I don't know about like companies in the US, and if you really just want to do it the fully compliant legal way, then normally you need a legal entity within the country that you want to hire, even if the job is fully remote. Like the remote aspect doesn't matter. What matters is where the company entity is and where the potential employee is based. And what a lot of companies do, if they're not able to establish an entity in a foreign country, is they use third-party providers called employer of record, or EOR as an abbreviation. So employer of record are these third parties that somehow have managed to set up like entities around the world, but also in a limited number of countries, not in every single country, obviously. And usually they'd say on their website like which countries they support. So if you want to hire, for example, like in the Philippines, and they'll say, hey, we support like hiring in the Philippines, or if I want to hire in China, yes, we support hiring in China. And if a company wants to hire people who are currently based in Afghanistan, then they probably need to find, like, for example, a European company would then need to potentially find an employer of record that supports setting up legal contracts and stuff in Afghanistan. This is also important for like tax reasons. So I think this is gonna be the most tricky aspect for this person. Like, they could do it still in reality, where because a lot of companies can still hire remote workers, but they just don't do it legally. Basically, like, you can still do that, but maybe you can't work with a big established company. You can only work with smaller companies that are maybe able to hire like contractors, because if they just pay you on PayPal or whatever, well, actually that could still be risky because, like, yeah. Anyways, it's just really really complicated to hire internationally, because like these payment services can also be like, wait, why are you sending huge amounts of money every month to like a foreign country? That is like, especially for example, the EU countries would feel that the non-EU countries are really suspicious. So it's just really, really tricky. So I think maybe this person has better chances on Fiverr or Upwork, like these remote freelancer platforms. I think they can probably start by working on more of these like freelancer projects until at some point when they're able to really find a company that is able to set up this like employer of record. But yeah, very tricky. Okay, I don't want to read the comments actually. I don't know if they're gonna be bad. Okay, cool. Anything else interesting on LinkedIn? Tired of fake internships disguised as opportunities. Pay us money, we'll give you a project. Yeah, I've seen that. I've actually had a friend who did something similar. But at least she got the experience she needed, so... Review my resume. We've got another one. All I received is rejection. ATI score of the resume is 92. Yeah, I wouldn't trust the ATS score or whatever, because they would not be able to help. Like, at the end of the day, it's a human reviewing your application 90% of the time. I can't speak for all the jobs because maybe there are some jobs where they will have to filter on some hard criteria. Like if they're hiring for like a salesperson who's going to travel a lot by car, then like they'll probably ask, do you have a driver's license of this class? If yes, then you can move forward, and if no, then you just cannot move forward. Like they just cannot consider you. So in those cases, like, or maybe in the case where you're hiring a lot of maybe blue collar work, where you're hiring like volume and you don't need to interview 10 rounds, you know, because you just need to know if the person can do, like, for example, warehouse tasks or I don't know, whatever it might be, right? But like otherwise, yeah, there's no point doing these resume scores. Really, like your job is to make sure you're presenting information that's relevant to the company in an easy to understand format within a short amount of time. So we're looking for relevant, like easy to understand and short amount of time. If you hit these 3 points, then you're probably going to be fine on the resume front. And then on top of that, like maybe you need to dig a little deeper with regards to those specific jobs. Like, are they looking for specific industry experience? Is that why maybe like the fit is not great, or are they looking for something else, or, you know, whatever it might be. But yeah, these like scoring things I think are pretty useless, really, because the problem is that they're misleading. Like they make you feel like if you hit a certain score, then you're gonna get the job, where that's really not the case. So yeah, don't use those. It's just pretty useless. Structure wise, I don't think there's anything wrong with the CV, but once again, I don't think this person's based in Europe. And the hiring preferences might be a bit different. Excuse me, because for example, like in North America, what I know is apparently, especially in the US, they're a lot more obsessed about which university you went to, whereas in Germany, like most of the times we don't care. For tech jobs, most of the times we don't care. But in the US, apparently it's quite important to put your education up front and then professional experiences. I think in Europe, like, don't do that. In Europe, just put professional experience up front. I've never seen like a hiring manager that actually filtered by what school or what degree somebody do. Unless it's like maybe something technical, then like, for example, machine learning, this kind of stuff, like a little bit more academic, then maybe you need the person to be trained in that in their education. But other than that, professional experience, I need to zoom a little bit. Professional experience, research intern. I think it would be good to mention a bit what these companies do, because or maybe they're well-known companies in this person's country, but like this abbreviation is not telling me anything, and I think the industry could matter a bit. If they're applying to machine learning, because there are different kinds of different areas of machine learning, right? And it might matter quite a bit depending on like what industry application it had. So maybe just a short line on what company it was. Or like what the company did primarily. High precision inverse kinematic solutions for robotic leg. Okay. Interesting. I think maybe depending on the job, some of the programming language and keywords, technical keywords, might need to show up like up top as well, or in context. Because for example, like PyTorch, transformers, NLP pipeline, maybe there's some other keywords that the companies are going to be looking for. Wait, why is this in strange chronological order? This is very strange order. Why is the last one, November 2025 to present? Like, I don't know about in this person's country, but basically we're in Germany, you're used to just reading things chronologically. So the top is the most recent and then all the way down to the least recent. So this doesn't make sense to me and it's a bit strange. But it could be that this person is trying to rearrange the experiences to make them more relevant to the jobs they're applying to. But so March 2025, April, and then May, July, and then November. Okay, yeah, this doesn't make sense. And also, this role is like computer vision lead, and these two are both intern roles. So it would make more sense to me, because the lead role sounds more senior, and the intern roles obviously sound more junior. So it would actually make more sense to me if they put the computer vision lead experience up top to make it make sense, make the story make sense. Programming language achievements. Achievements is good. Yeah, without looking at a specific job, then I don't think there's more to say, to be honest, because everything else looks fine to me. Yeah, but I have a feeling maybe they need to mention some more keywords up top and then sort out this like chronological issue. But let's see what the commenters are saying. Yeah, for software developer role, yeah, that's true. This CV is very machine learning focused. It's not software development focused. Cool. 92 ATS score is solid. Okay, I have to downvote. Okay, cool. So we actually reached the scheduled time of our stream today. It's 9 p.m. German time. I think we've gone through 3 CVs at least, so that's good. If you have more questions, and including to the people whose CVs I've already reviewed, if you have more questions, you know where to find me. You can find me on OfferBee. Our email is hello@offerbee.de, and I'm the person basically who's going to be reading all of your emails, so you can email me. You can find me on LinkedIn, message me or add me on LinkedIn. And yeah, I would love to hear a bit more of your feedback using OfferBee as well. So this is a software platform that I've built from scratch. So I really want to use this platform to incorporate a lot of the insider knowledge and the kind of job search principles that I believe in based on those recruiting experiences, and not based on any like hearsay or AI generated or urban myth stuff. So keen to hear what you say. Keen to hear what you think. Sorry, brain can't move. Keen to hear what you think. And yeah, if you have more questions, if you want to prepare your CV for next week's live stream, I will put out a different coupon code and I'll make sure it works this time. But most likely we'll do the live stream again next Sunday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. German time. And yeah, if you have more job search questions, also please send them in. Let's diversify the topics a little bit. Or if you're interested in this live stream answering Reddit questions format, I can do more of these like dedicated sessions as well. But yeah, let me know. And thank you so much to the YouTube commenter. Hit you up on LinkedIn. Yes, let's stay in touch. Have a good evening, everyone. Enjoy your Easter weekend. See you soon. Bye.